about it. And the team carry out an assessment of them in 3 weeks, not 20 weeks. And it's a very full assessment. And we come up with an intervention plan for that family that tackles all their problems, hopefully, going forward. And they come back after 3 weeks and we say, have you learned about this? Are you going to sign up to this? And they all say yes. And then they sign an agreement in court. And the agreement is a very simple agreement. I'm going to come to all court hearings, I'm going to do everything that's asked of me by the FDAC team, and above all, I'm going to be honest. And I'm not going to try and pull the wool over your eyes. I'm not going to say that they will do that, but by and large, they do, and that's the clear message at the beginning. And then they come back to court every 2 weeks for review. And after the first 2 hearings, the lawyers fall away. They're available, and if we identify an issue for which we need the lawyers, we certify the lawyers come back. But they come back to the same judge every 2 weeks. And I do one of the courts, and my colleague District Judge Kenneth Grant does the other one. And we sit alternate Mondays, and we review their cases. And when the lawyers fall away, and I'm not denigrating lawyers, lawyers are very important to the whole family justice system, don't misunderstand me. But these review hearings, when we have just the parent or parents, the FDAC worker, the children's guardian, and the social worker, we really get down on our knees and we get money. And we talk about the issues, and we look about what's gone well in the last 2 weeks and what hasn't gone well, and can we tweak the intervention plan? What can we do with it? What can we make it better? And it is astonishing how the parents engage with us and become articulate and really talk to us about where their problems are and what they feel is working for them and what isn't working for them. And it's empowerment, if you like, and it's very, very impressive to watch, to be involved in. I have to say, it is the most exhausting day's work that I do in a week, is engaging with 10, 11 or 12 of these parents and urging them on and trying to find out where the problems are and how we can address them. And after a series of 2-week reviews, if we've really got them going well, then we stretch it out to once a month. And it's a process that takes time. We also use parent mentors, people who have been through the system and come out of it successfully. Not just our system, because to begin with we have to find people who haven't come through FDAC. And so we try to link the parent with someone who's been there and done it and wears the t-shirt and not a suit and tie. And often that is a very helpful part of the process because they're talking to somebody who really understands. We've been going for 14 months. We have had 3 families graduate out completely successfully. And one of them I really want to mention because she had lost 6 children to the care system and adoption. And she has kept the 7th. And she has done amazingly well. The key to that may be the fact that the 7th child was the first child by this father, but he also had a very serious drug problem. But together they decided this was the moment we were going to do it. And they've done it. And they were terrific. We've had a number of failures, but then this is what you would expect, because if you're going to work with people towards recovery, we know that is a long process. So with a project that's only been going just over a year, you wouldn't have expected more than 3, maybe 4 successes by now, and you would expect more failures because the failures happen more quickly. But that isn't a complete failure because that is an earlier resolution for the child. If these parents really can't do it, then we need to find out as soon as possible, and we are finding out as soon as possible, and hopefully getting these children into another permanent. My time is going to run out in a minute. Housing, I mentioned, this is a problem. There's no point in working intensively with these parents if you're sending them back to a high-rise block where drugs are freely available, or where they're in a violent relationship. In America, they had more money, they got a big grant, and they bought houses, and they bought clean and sober houses, and these parents are forming little groups in the clean and sober houses looking after their children. We haven't been able to provide that. I wish we could. But what we have got is a housing expert who is linked into the 3 boroughs that we're working with. And if we identify we've got that sort of a problem, we are trying to deal with that problem to get them into another housing situation, other accommodation away from those areas. Because if they're going back to that situation every night and every weekend, we risk undoing all the good that we have been doing. I think the key to this is that the parents need to be in the right place at the time that we invite them into FDAC. They have got to be at the moment in their lives when they recognise that their substance misuse, their alcohol misuse, really is impacting upon their capacity to care for their children and to be motivated to do something about it. And some of our people who've come out quite quickly found, quite frankly, that they weren't in the right place. They've got to know that this is the moment that I want to change my lifestyle. And if they are in that place, then FDAC offers them support, the authority of the court. Rather embarrassingly, the other night I was called a therapeutic judge. I haven't quite taken to that yet. We'll see about it. But what we do offer, if this is the right moment and the right place for this family, is education about drugs, intensive services, the capacity to get into detox and rehabilitation quickly, and to work with a team that really does want to help them get into a where they can hold on to this child and parent this child adequately, in the hope that we don't get that awful procession of children going into care in the way that they do. So thank you for the opportunity of being able to talk to you about it.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. When I was suggesting that what we needed was less directives and more direction, it seemed to me that I was very pleased that you're going to come here and talk about what you did, because this is a wonderful example of having a vision, of having a service in which the court is really an agent of change. And rather than simply being a factory for making decisions which may or may not be correct. The court is an agent of therapeutic change, which is a more radical idea that certain other countries do use, more in Europe than in America. But it really is a wonderful vision of what can be achieved when people start thinking more integratively. So are there any points, please?
Graham Porter, Treasurer of the Association for Shared Parenting. I listened to Rob, therapeutic judge, and it's a jolly good description. My question is, to the Treasurer, where does the dosh come from?
Well, I can answer that quite swiftly. We're working with 3 London boroughs, Islington, Camden, Westminster. They each provide £50,000 a year. 3 government departments are providing between £50,000 and £150,000 a year for 3 years. That's less than their paperclip budget, I would venture to suggest. That's where the dosh comes from. The partnership of running FDAC is between the Tavistock and Portman Clinic and Coram Family, who provide the premises. So that's where the dosh is coming from. It's not a lot of money. Local authorities have to buy in if we need any other services, but we very rarely find that we do. I think there's an awful lot of